The week of May 19th to the 25th is one hell of a busy week, full of profound and even rare transits. We have Jupiter bending the north node of fate in a way we haven't seen since 1989. And before that, back in 1858, we have a beautiful and sustained trine between the cosmic lovers, Venus and Mars, that can bring a lot of flow into our love, money, beauty, and creativity this week ahead. And we have a really intense surprise or shock or break free or breakthrough moment coming up Friday through Sunday as Mercury enters into communion with Uranus. And this will maybe be one of those things that take place in our sky this week that come back to some events that happened in the last week before, on the weekend before, because we had the sun with Uranus there too. What makes this also very interesting with Mercury coming into Uranus's conjunction is it is on the star Algol. The fixed star Algol is a very interesting and intense star to do with wealth, but also to do with losing one's head or being decapitated. I'm going to bring some stories into this when it comes to world events in the beginning of this video, but not a lot. And then we're going to do your sign. Because I've already put out a very deep dive all signs video on both Jupiter bending the nodes of fate in a rare and destined way. That video will have come out on Sunday, the 18th of May. Go check it out. I'll put it in the description box. And I've also covered the trine between Venus and Mars, which has been ongoing for a week behind us and continues throughout this week. I have those videos already out, so we won't dive into that. I'll just remind you that these things are happening in the backdrop of the week ahead. What I really want to focus mostly on is the fact that Mercury will merge with Uranus, come together in the sky Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's pretty exact on actually Saturday. And because we had the sun do the very same thing last week, like on the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the week before. So that would be like the 16th, 17th, and 18th of May. And then Mercury comes in and picks up the same act. And so I'll try the same deal 23rd, 24th, and 25th of May. You're going to see stories from both of those time frames coming together. It's really a two-part story. So we'll try to bring our attention to that based on your sun, your moon, or your rising sign. I know you guys always ask me, what should I listen to? My sun, my moon, or rising? Or I'll get someone in the comments going, that didn't come true. Well, first of all, this is general astrology. This is not a natal chart reading. But second of all, if you were listening for your sun, maybe that's not the right one for you to listen to. Maybe you should be listening for your rising sign. That's most circumstantially accurate for most people most of the time. So listen for your rising sign first, then listen for your sun and moon. Sun, your career and purpose matters. Moon, home, and things to do with your domestic life and where you live. And of course, the rising sign connects you directly to you being a character in a simulation, a character in a movie. This is like the unreal you. It's your character that you play. The sun is the deep essence of you. It's your soul. It's the game player. It's the actress who plays the character in the movie. But you can listen for all three and you'll get a sense of what works. So give it a try. Welcome, by the way. I didn't say hi. My name is Lori Lothian. I am using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, and all you guys know I'm into the fixed stars and those minor asteroids. If you love this kind of predictive astrology with all signs content, world events included, then please hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit your notification bell. And if you're one of my regulars, welcome back. And by the way, I don't want to over promote anything, but if you love celestial jewelry geared for astrologically literate people, this is the Aries trio bracelet, and it's got garnet and a bunch of really cool stuff in here. And I've already talked about it on another video, but I really love wearing this particular trio. I have an Aries sun and moon. That's Otter Spirit. If you go to my description box, you can see you get a 20% discount code off if you use my code, and you'll find out all about their stuff on their website. Beautiful, amazing jewelry on their website. Now, get your Gemini trio, get, your intention jewelry. Moving on. Let's talk about this sky from the vantage point of rarity. Just before I show you the sky, I have a thing about astrology. When something is unusually rare, I pay attention because I know that it's going to have some kind of impact on me that may be first in a lifetime or once in a lifetime. And having Jupiter squaring the south and north node as he moves through late Gemini, and the nodes are in Virgo and Pisces, has happened in 1989 in March and April. The same thing occurred. But technically, this is much rarer. It happened in the 1700s. It happened in 1858. It usually only happens once every 100 years or so. So having this, though, happen to us this week ahead, and it's in play starting Sunday, the 18th behind us, and it continues to play till the 29th of May, is a big deal. And so you're really going to want to go back and watch that video. But usually, because it's a square, it's pivotal turning points in decisions and actions that are highly fated and destined. Well, Jupiter is doing his best to bring goodness and opportunity to you, blessings, if you like, in the week ahead. And that's the backdrop for the entirety of the week. Well, Venus, the cosmic lovers, are trining Mars and Venus as well, bringing flow and ease between what we desire and how we are going to get it. And so there's so much about this week that I just think is a great week ahead. I'm not complaining. We even have a sextile from Sun to Saturn. These are all positive events. The challenge may be what we don't see coming, right? It's that old expect the unexpected. And I can't say that it's necessarily bad. It's just not something that's easy for us to foretell or predict. The best you can get with Uranus is a breakthrough, an insight, aha. With Mercury, even more so, a breakthrough, an insight, a divine download, a mad scientist moment, a discovery of some kind. We may get news in the news cycle about a new invention, a new medical invention, a new scientific discovery, a new source of energy, a new theory of the universe. But in our own lives, we could get like that Uranian moment coming up this week ahead, which will be primarily the 23rd to the 25th, or Friday to Sunday, where we're kind of like, I didn't see that coming. Like, whoa, what was that about? And Mercury will be your news guy, right? Like, and how does he show up in our lives? The messenger of the gods, phone calls, emails, text messages. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's how we find out things these days. So conversations with another person that surprise you, that take you, in an unexpected direction, that give you a free breakthrough moment. So I don't know how to describe it other than those words: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When Mercury and Uranus join together at 27 degrees of the sign of Uranus, of the sign of Taurus, they're on the star Algol. First of all, Uranus is only in Taurus once every 84 or so years. This last happened in the 1930s. Now he's finishing up after being here since 2018. He'll be finished up completely next summer in the sign of Taurus. And Mercury's been joining him there on the yearly since 2018, more or less. But what I want to say about this kind of spot of sky is Algol is a star that has to do with the Medusa's head being decapitated by the hero Perseus. And therefore there's a story of a slain monster whose head was made of snakes that turned men to stone. It's considered a dark and malefic star in most traditions, has a connection to calamity, mass death, corpses, and chaos. It can be the decapitation of a leader, either literally, you know what I mean, or figuratively, like they lose their seat of power. And in fact, when Trump was nearly clipped, the air bullet thing happened, he had a condition of Mars and Uranus together on Algol over his midheaven, squaring his ascendant, which represents his body. And so you can see that this is a very intense star for the world. And we're not the world, we're individuals, but we could lose our head Friday to Sunday. We could lose our mind. We could, off with our heads. So it's to be said that if you're going to use this energy proactively, take a few deep breaths Friday through Sunday, not to lose your head over something, because you may have had some inability to constrain your Mercury communications. So the Sabian symbol for 27 Aries will round up to 28. That's how we do Sabians. And this is my very old book, Sabian Symbols, A Screen of Prophecy by Diana E. Roche. All the books I like are in my description box below. They're all itemized for you. And what she has to say about this: first of all, the symbol is the symbol is the symbol. It was channeled. A woman pursued by mature romance, keyword persuasion. And her interpretation of a mature, meaning an old woman, pursued by romance, a woman pursued by mature romance. The idea is that in our elder years, romance still can happen. So the themes here are talking about the joy found in an experience when it comes when we don't expect it. Like I'm 80 years old. I don't expect romance kind of thing. So, there's no time like the present for seizing opportunity, she says. If the potential exists, it can be realized. And at its highest, the symbol speaks to the unquenchable hope, patience, and refusal to recognize limitations. And the accent is on serendipity or synchronicity. Take your choice of words. When opportunity knocks, notice it. And everything comes at its appointed time. And some keywords are attraction, enchantment, hope, opportunity, prospect, chance, appreciation, ripeness, and allure. Now, I don't know. To me, it depends on what's going on in your own chart. But this is the Taurus place, which is about romantic love or things of those natures because it's the nature of Venus. So it could have some romantic surprises for us. But because money is involved with this well star and Venus is a money goddess and this is our Taurus domain, there may be some unexpected developments with the New York Stock Exchange because that's where the sun of the New York Stock Exchange is, and or some unexpected developments or news regarding things to do with people, places, and things with a strong Taurus 24 to 28 degree placement, such as Donald Trump's midheaven, such as former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, to some degree, J.D. Vance. The sun of the nation of Israel is at 21 or 2 Taurus, maybe 23. It may impact Israel just slightly in terms of their leadership and what's going on over there. And anything and anyone famous where there's a Taurus position. For instance, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have Venus right here, both of them on that malefic star. So people who have strong placements near the Algol star will be impacted. It doesn't have to be bad, but I will draw your attention back in time. Because if you pay attention to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 16th, 18th, 17th, and 18th of May, when the sun set in the exact same spot, and then Mercury follows up, and he comes in next on the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of May, a week later. There's a strong possibility in our lives individually and for the world, those things are connected. Let me give you an example. In Canada, a story just broke on May 17th. I'm recording then. And it was a surprising, shocking news that our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, newly elected, had indeed decided to take away the retaliatory tariffs, the majority of them, that Canada had instituted under the former administration, Trudeau, once the trade wars were starting, and didn't tell anybody. Now, there were people who knew in institutional government, but the news cycle was kept in the dark about this change of status done in the back room of a cabinet meeting. Now, the thing about that is that the only thing that surprises people, it is a surprise because no one knew, and now it's coming out, oh my gosh, more than a month after that was done, is that his election was run on the fighting Trump elbows up. That's a hockey term. It was kind of stupid, psyops. And the point is that part of the elbows up fight, Trudeau fight back, was declared to be that Canada would have retaliatory tariffs. Now, some of them are still there on food, which is punishingly brutal for our food bills right now. And it's warned by Loblaws to get worse. That's one of our major independent grocers. So all said and done, that story broke on a weekend, like a Saturday, maybe late Friday, I don't know. And that's always when stories like this do come out because they're considered slow news cycles. And so governments leak stories on Fridays or early Saturdays because they expect people are not going to pay attention. But I would expect this to have a second stage of a blow up or another layer of disclosure or information coming forth about this kind of thing, or even just about Carney. Mark Carney has his ascendant on a near Algol where this is happening. An ascendant is his character in this game of life. So his character has got a little shock and destabilizing energy through the news cycle coming even more so next week. I would imagine that next Friday, the 23rd, through to the weekend, we'll bring more news about something in dealing with Carney, maybe not even about retaliatory tariffs. That was what the sun and Uranus did at that time on his ascendant. So I knew when he was going to be into the election that he would come up against this Uranus sun energy in May. I wasn't sure what it would be about. I'm not sure this is the full extent of it either. I was just using that as an example. Okay. Watch for Trump and information about Trump and news cycles about him. I didn't even check in what happened Saturday, May the 17th regarding news stories around leadership son Trump. Did anyone check it out? So maybe I should take a look if there's any breaking news stories with Trump on Saturday, the 17th, from Sun Uranus conjunction. Well, I'm glad I looked because today, on May 17th, as the Sun and Uranus are conjunct, Trump announced he's going to talk to Vladimir Putin and then Zelensky on Monday. And the Sun and Uranus will still be in a conjunction, more or less. So he's going to talk to Putin at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. So he says. Now, that is a chart to draw up and say, what does that mean? Maybe we'll do that for the world events, because he says this war that shouldn't have this very violent war that should never have happened needs to end now. And apparently, from the talks in Istanbul, Russia will not go into a ceasefire mode until Ukraine agrees not to take back territory that Russia sacrificed young kids for, and so did Zelensky in fighting back. So there's this detente around the land story. Now, I already talked about this in another video. We're back in a parallel universe that connected to Russia winning land from Poland. And I can't now remember which aspect pattern that was, but we're back in it. I think it has to do with the Saturn story. But we're back in another one in history when Russia managed to win land from Poland. We're back in a similar time frame. I expect Russia to get Crimea. I expect Russia to retain land that it did not have before this war. Now, let's go ahead and look at the sky. Let me talk about the general vibe of the week ahead. Let me just briefly look at 10 a.m. on Monday, what Trump is up to. I will be doing a video on the Alberta situation. I've already looked at the chart of Alberta, which is a Cancer rising, which is a totally non-surprise to me. They're very patriotic. I believe that they're in alignment with the Canada chart, which is also very connected to the sort of theme of the angles of the angular houses or the cardinal houses. And also, I'm pretty sure Pierre Poilievre is a Cancer rising. I rectified his chart. So this sort of homeland patriotism, nationalism, the desire to break away. Alberta wants to break away from Canada. Maybe they're going to do a referendum. This kind of stuff comes up with Cancer rising energy in general. Okay, so let's get going and let me show you what the sky looks like. And then I'm going to define the vibe of the week ahead in a general way. And then we're going to look at the 10 a.m. Monday story when Putin and Trump have a phone call. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about your sign. The focus of the week ahead is coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What is the shock, surprise, unexpected news, breakthrough development in your life that may also perhaps connect to events that happened the weekend before? Let me show you the sky and we will delineate the week ahead video. And guys, don't forget that I have my all signs videos for sale. Did you know that? 2025 predictions broken down quarter by quarter, 2 hours for each sign by video. You can download the video, you can access it in a private file. You can also get with it comes a PDF I wrote for each sign. It's all different. Each sign had a different thing I wrote up for you guys, guidebook for the year ahead. And if you get the bundle, which is for sale at $33, it's a fantastic deal because that 24 hours of video content allows you to listen for sun, moon, and rising and share with friends and family. So get it. Sky Reader starting in July. It was going to be mid-June. Now it's early July because I'm moving my home. I didn't know that I was going to be moving my home. Now I know I'm moving my home for sure. And so I'm not going to try to launch a course in the middle of moving boxes. So we're looking at July, probably the first after July 4th, and then we're going to go 6 weeks. So it really is dog days of summer, July, August, summer school. Come join me. I'd love to have you in class. Get on the early bird discount waitlist or read all about the course in the description box below. And if you're in the live premiere, please hit the like button. Thank you. And subscribe if you're not. And if you think you're subscribed, I bet you've been unsubscribed, double check. By the way, I'm in this sort of orange mode, right? Orange flowers. Hang on, guys. I'm having a moment with color coordination. Okay. I don't know if you guys are, I know I'm autistic spectrum disorder. So if certain things happen, like if I'm walking down the street, I can't help but count house numbers. Like I'll say, oh, it's house number 8924. And then I'll add the numbers up and then reduce them. And also I get caught up in color matching. I don't mean to do it. And then when I see that it's happened, it really is a thing when you're autistic, the smallest weird details get to you. But anyway, just happened to be that I made all of this match and I didn't mean to. Crazy. All right. So let me go back to the week ahead. All right, here we go. At the end of every video now, I'm going to have an extra. It's usually about 5 minutes where I talk about something esoteric, spiritual, mystical, or magical. This is a little off topic, but if you're into that kind of thing, you might want to check out the last, 5 minutes of the video. The timestamps will take you there. It's going to be after the all signs portion where I go into stuff that interests me, and you might be interested as well. And who knows how long those extras will go, but usually about 5 minutes, I anticipate. Here we have it, May 24th, 2025. This is when Uranus and you can see Uranus and Mercury are together. So that's what it looks like. And they are in a relationship to the nodes of fate, the South Node in Virgo and the North Node in Pisces. And I would say that that relationship as well to Saturn is there. So there's a flow state going on between Uranus and Mercury, Saturn, North Node, etc. That does give it stability and something positive. It feels good. Let me show you what the beginning of the week looks like. When we move to the Monday timeframe. On Monday, the 19th of May, you'll notice that we have this particular energy in our heavens, I would say, that is stabilizing. And that's because we'll see that the sun here at 29 degrees of Taurus is moving into a beautiful sextile to Saturn. And in general, anytime Saturn and Sun are in a flowing harmony, you're going to have something to do with stable, practical, realistic events or directions. Now, because this has to do with, say, the stock markets, because the New York Stock Exchange has its sun around this part of Taurus, there may be some stabilizing developments, including news because of Mercury, about crypto or stock markets, but it can also be Saturn to do with regulations or rules about money markets, markets in general, banking industry. But the things like the Federal Reserve can be represented, or the Bank of Canada, these bodies that are governing currencies and interest rates. I don't know if there's a meeting coming up, but this has a very Federal Reserve, Bank of Canada interest rate vibe, and trying to stabilize something with information, news, currencies, and markets, so that can be a very Monday, Tuesday kind of feeling. And then it's going to be in play Monday and Tuesday. Are the Feds supposed to meet? Does anybody know if there's a Federal Reserve meeting or a Bank of Canada meeting on the menu? Let me take a look. I bet you there is, because I don't even know. No, Bank of Canada is June 4th, and I think the Fed is somewhere in July. So it's all good. Point is that kind of vibe is there. And of course, when it comes to difficulty in watery places, Pisces, Saturn, constriction and hardship, sextiling the sun, there may be some developments in places of hardship, like the Middle East, like Gaza, etc., that are trying to bring form and structure to difficult and terrible, terrible situations. Okay. I don't know how we got here, guys, that there's this ongoing situation. Let's go back to the picture. Okay. Oh, darn it. There's somebody popping into my screen. Picture of the sky. I bet you want to see the sky. So here we go. Let's move forward. The next thing you're going to see happen is the sun is going to flow to Neptune. So the sun first flows to Saturn, and then the sun, as we move into Wednesday and Thursday. Now, here we have on Wednesday, the sun is talking to Neptune. Neptune's at 1 degrees of Aries, and the sun will be at 1 degrees of Gemini. I'd say Wednesday and Thursday in general can feel, for most of us, like there's something like ambitiously dreamy and fantastically imaginal that we want to pioneer independently in our Aries sky, that the sun wants to cooperate with in our Gemini sky. And it's a day-long experience. Really, it's Wednesday into Thursday, just a nice spot of some kind of something nebulous or imaginal or fantastical or dreamed into being could show up in a solid sort of maybe career or purpose manner in the Gemini sky from vibes going on in the Aries. So I'm an Aquarius rising. Neptune's in my third house of online social media, and then Sun is in my fifth house of entrepreneurship. So you get the feeling I could have a glow up on Wednesday, Thursday. You can figure it out for yourself. Then we move into the most important story. We do talk about, of course, there's Jupiter, squaring the nodes of fate. Pretty exact here on Wednesday, by the way. But the point isn't that. That really also pretty well locked and loaded for everybody as well on Sunday behind us. So I want you to go watch that video, because I do spend a good deal of time for each sign, giving you an understanding of how this not seen since 1989 event might play out for your sun, moon, and rising. Go watch that. Now let's go ahead and talk about Monday at 10 a.m. just for fun. What this is the call that Trump is making. Okay. Is anyone interested? And I'll set it for Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. I hate putting Washington in here because it's District of Columbia, and the software District of Columbia. Okay, Washington, and we're going to go Monday, which happens to be the 19th. And it's going to be May the 19th at 10 a.m. Eastern time. What is going to happen in that Putin conversation? Let's take a look, or what's likely to happen, and we'll put it in the whole sign mode. And I'll make sure that it held, because sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. No, it didn't. This is Vancouver. Well, we know that there's no Vancouver, District of Columbia. Okay, here we have it. And the ascendant will be at the time of the conversation with Vladimir Putin, who is a Scorpio rising. There's a good old contractual goddess. We'll add her. So from the perspective of Vladimir Putin, when this call happens at 10 a.m. in Washington, basically, it has a Scorpio rising for Putin. There is the goddess of agreements and contracts here. So there may be an ability to seal a deal or make a contract, especially because Juno, the goddess of contractual agreements, is in a flow to Saturn, North Node, the god of stabilization. Crimea is on the water. He wants Crimea for sure, and other areas that he may have already conquered. So we're going to see some agreements between Trump and Putin that on the surface look positive. That's the best I can say. On the surface, they look really good. And for Donald Trump, he is a Leo rising. So in his view, on the day of this event, he's very transactional. He's making his speech over here in the second house of the day, like Washington, D.C. Second house are monetary matters, the coffers of a country. So maybe in the back of his mind, he's thinking peace in the middle in Ukraine, Russia could somehow be beneficial for the money story in the country. I don't know all of his motives. In general, having this chart look like this, it means that on the actual day and the time that this conversation is happening, the trine between the North Node and Saturn and Juno, if you're looking for peace anywhere, can be highly favorable, highly auspicious, could look good on the storyline. I'll try to see if there's any other angle I take on this guy that day. I'm not going to put Zelensky's chart, etc. in. Zelensky gets second fiddle. He gets talked to after Vladimir Putin, because Putin has the bigger army and has the bit more power, and the West has exhausted its resources, time, energy, and interest, it seems, in going to war against Russia in a proxy war via Ukraine. So at this point, it looks like this is going to be a kind of attempt to seal the deal. United States natal chart itself is a Sag rising. The rising sign of the United States is over here. Open enemies is Jupiter. Jupiter wants to bring justice to fighting parties. Let's see what happens. I'm going to just say, at the time of the call, there is a positive association between a goddess of agreements and Saturn stability and the North Node fated and destined events. And yes, the sun is at 28 degrees of Taurus on the day and the time of the call. And it's also connected to surprises and announcements. So some surprise announcements may come off of this meeting to do with the world's events, to do with war, and to do with difficult places in the country. From Putin's perspective, this is the house of its open enemies, which is really the West, right? Putin expected that the promise that Ukraine would become a NATO nation was going to be true. It thought that was driven by the Biden administration or the neoconservative warmongering back people behind the U.S. government. And very possibly, though, he's looking, here's Putin here in the fifth house looking at open enemies, and there's surprising Mercury negotiations with a solar figure, which is a leader. And so there you have it. This is taking place in Donald Trump's 10th house, which is on his midheaven. And so on his midheaven are surprising news announcements that may come off of Monday's meeting connected to what Putin would consider in the past open enemies. Although at this point, Donald Trump is trying to control the narrative or make this not an enemy situation between Russia and the United States. Okay, that kind of thing. All right, so that's what I got for you. Let's go ahead and do your sign. Now, when I do your sign, I remind you, this is a busy week and I'm not going to go through everything. I would never get through the week. I'm covering Uranus, joining with Mercury, taking cue perhaps with some breakthrough energy, an idea, an understanding, an aha, a critical conversation that completely changes the landscape of something in your life, that phone call, email, or text message that completely unravels how you thought things were going to go. So there's a change of a way it's supposed to be into what it will become, but you might like it because Saturn and the North Node say yes in a sextile, giving you a stable result from an unexpected sky. This is happening May the 22nd even, or Thursday the 22nd through until Sunday the 25th of May. Epicenter Saturday the 24th. All right, let's get going and talk about this for your sign. Whoo, change on the horizon. Okay, back to the sky, and we're going to start with Aries. I may as well just leave it at Washington, D.C. You know, why not? Yes, we can do that. Now, should we start with Cancer? Nah, we're going to start with Aries. And we're going to start by moving to the right day, which is the day it's exact on Saturday at 27 degrees of the sign of Taurus. You'll start feeling it, as I mentioned, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even maybe a bit on, for some of you, Thursday. But let's make it simple. Let's make it Friday, Saturday, Sunday with epicenter Saturday, and we'll go through each separate sign. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. Now, what I want to mention here about this is that you have a money surprise or a financial surprise or a surprise or unexpected breakthrough in your savings, earnings, and financial resources. Because Algol can be a wealth star and was used for wealth magic, I'm not going to discount that you could have a surprising increase of financial wellness. How? Not sure. Saturn North Node suggests some money goodness could come from backroom deals and negotiations, from far off distant shores and lands, international commerce and marketplaces. That's 12th house matters. Now, with Mars trundling through your 5th house, there's also a suggestion that perhaps he's got something to say because he is in a broad square. And that could indicate that Mars might want you to experience as well a kind of critical turning point as he trines Venus, lord of the conjunction between Mercury and Uranus. So then it feels all of a sudden like there's some lucky flow around a change of guard, a change of direction financially. With Mars in the 5th house, it could be a creative project, an entrepreneurial story. Venus is giving you a particularly lovely glow up as she moves through your sign. You might feel more attractive, look more attractive, feel more lucky, be more popular, or just have a sense of your own innate self-worth and self-love right now. But you also know what you want and what you value and what you desire more than you normally do, and what you're willing to say yes to and what you're willing to say no to. And that's the gift of Venus moving through the sign of Aries. And she's talking to Mars all week long and saying things like, are we having fun here? Is this passionate? Are we inspired? Is there a reason to get out of bed in the morning, guys? I mean, do I want to like tackle life with enthusiasm and inspiration? That's the kind of vibe at the background of the whole week ahead. This little surprise wants you to make money by being enthused, inspired, and delighted. With the South Node in the 6th house, you might even quit a job in order to create this feeling within you of liberation financially. Let's call it a financial liberation moment, or insight, or aha, or surprise. I think with the energy in the sky, it's going to feel mostly positive. And if you have any sense of wanting to get perhaps a connection to the past from this, go back and see what was happening on the weekend before, right? What was happening the weekend before, which would be roughly, May 16th to the 18th, okay? Because May 16th to the 18th, we had the sun on Uranus, and now Mercury is following up. I need to get rid of the midheaven and the descendant. No need. Now, let's go ahead and do Taurus, and then we'll do the extra, which will be fun, I hope. Taurus, you're ruled by Venus, and Venus is moving through your 12th house, which makes it a time in which you're more inside than outside. You're going inward. You're more interior, enjoying your bed pleasures, perhaps. And this week is no exception to that, or a time alone, or what you do in solitude, bringing you great satisfaction. Now, as this is happening all week long, of course, Venus and Mars are in a trine. It looks like things you're doing in and from the home are bringing you a great deal of ease, flow, and enjoyment, including maybe some creativity at home, maybe some decorating, moving furniture, revising, cleaning the house. But this is giving you a good vibe all week long. And against that backdrop of that story, you'll notice that there's a personal breakthrough. And it's personal because Uranus and Mercury joined together in your sign. If this is your Taurus sun, it's going to be breakthroughs in career. Taurus moon, home-based matters. And if it's your Taurus ascendant, anything at all to do with your life, you might be having a divine download, a new fresh insight, a surprising new take on reality. Having this conjunction solidified and stabilized by Saturn and the North Node in the 11th house of great career gains is a positive thing. Your reputation can go into a very positive upswing. Your career gains can also increase. It's possible this breakthrough event coming through, next on this weekend, Friday through to Sunday, could look like an advancement in your job, a raise, a promotion, something like that, just because these 11th house themes are suggestive of an increase of gains in your career, and the surprise is coming through your side of the storyline. You might be the engineer of the change, though. You want to break through. You might do what you need to do in order to either increase your career gains or make a significant change in your finances connected to career matters. Mars is telling us in that fourth house as well. He does witness this conjunction, although it is a square. And there may be almost a kind of a radical shift that happens pretty quickly regarding matters to do with where you live, to the point where Mars squaring Juno in the 7th, some of you may fracture or break a contract, like a rental contract, like a purchase or sale contract regarding property. There may be something pretty dramatic on the horizon, but did you have clues about it already a week ago? Because maybe if you go back to about May 16th to the 18th, when the sun was on Uranus, you'll see that that was kind of a seed for the full Monty that's playing out here instead, which is, of course, most exact on the 24th of May. Wow, it's intense. We won't even talk about Jupiter squaring the nodes of fate because I already covered that in a much longer video. And it is a critical and rare event, not seen since 1989. So I suggest you go watch that video that came out already. It's all signs. I'll put the link in the description box for you already. All right, so next up on the menu, we have the sign of Gemini. Now, Gemini this week ahead as a backdrop, as I mentioned, for every sign of love and money flow, Venus and Mars in a trine. That video is out in depth. Go watch it already. But also we have the bending of the nodes of fate, Jupiter square the nodes all week long. All week long. And this is literally going to feel like pivotal decisions and actions that are destined are in your face regarding all kinds of stuff, but mostly career and home-based matters. So please go watch the video that came out for your sign. It would have been published on Sunday, the 18th, and it'll be pinned to the top of the comments and in the description box for ease of access. One thing I would say for you with this surprising feeling, the shocking, the unexpected, let's call it all of that, happening pretty well Friday through Sunday in this week ahead, is it is coming at the level of the subconscious, the dreams, the insights you have from meditations or shamanic journeys, maybe a breakthrough spiritual liberation moment, kind of kicking into gear, like, meeting Jesus on the road to Tarsus or something, or having a divine illumination or a game-changing nocturnal dream. Look for those kinds of shifts. This is a subtle place, the 12th house. Now, the only way it's not subtle for some of you is if you make money from foreign shores and distant lands. If that's a part of your narrative, then you could have a wealth breakthrough or shocking upswell of financial gains from digital revenue or foreign marketplaces, especially with Saturn and the North Node in the career house. If you have a breakthrough, though, an internal insight, a dream, a download, it may reflect how you want to make changes in the career space that are destined, that while they expand your career success and worldly success, constrict and constrain other areas, because Saturn wants you to put boundaries up in that career space. And he is like very intensely 29 degrees anoretic at the time of the conjunction. So there's a lot of intensity in the sky at the time of this joining together of Mercury and Uranus. Now, you feel this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, okay? It's not a one and done. It's a whole deal. Like if I was to progress our chart, oops, I want to show you what it looks like the day after. Oh, that sounds like, I don't know why that sounded weird. But anyway, the day after on May the 25th, right? They're actually, it depends on your time zone, right? But they're actually very tightly conjunct. So there's just something about how you could find yourself in a real Friday, Saturday, Sunday, spiritual illumination. I don't know what other word to use. Illumination. And as it builds up on Saturday, Saturn wants you to stabilize something as well. North Node is saying just make an increase. Just increase. Saturn is, never mind, we won't go there. And then Mars. Mars is like, I can witness this event. I can see it from the third house. Do you want to make a change in your communications, teaching, ideas, neighbors, neighborhood situations? And you may have a radical insight on how to do that. But if you're in the social media online world, which is the third house, then Mars is activating a kind of an exciting flash of insight regarding online world endeavors, social media endeavors, websites and platforms, and some financial breakthrough if you make money online. Uh-oh. Okay, now we're going to the next sign. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, backdropping the week, bending of the nodes of fate by Jupiter, not seen since 1989. Please watch the video that came out already on Sunday, the 18th of May, but also the trine that's ongoing from last week between Mars and Venus. These cosmic lovers, they don't trine this long normally. This is amazing. And this is just giving you a financial glow up or reputation glow up or career glow up all week long, and it just continues to flow for you. So nothing bad about that. It's just such a nice vibe, and you're probably going to roll with it. Where the bending of the nodes of fate might invite you to make critical, life-changing turning point decisions, I leave you to watch Sunday's video. The energy of breakthrough, break free, illumination, fresh ideas, but maybe communication that surprises you, activates for you Friday through to Sunday. And this could even be communication from, maybe communication from a spouse, a sibling, one older. They might have a flash of unexpected excitement or development in their life, and you're going to hear about it. So watch for those phone calls, text messages, also from friends, from social group people, from allies, people that are like you and help you out in life. And this looks really good on you. You might have a sudden opportunity come because of something that's going on from another person towards you. So those emails, phone calls, and text messages Friday, Saturday, and Sunday especially are going to have something important for you and something surprising. But because the 11th house, the house of good spirit, is such a positive house, I don't anticipate it being a hardship. And the moon is exalted here as well. And Mercury is, here's some exalted good news, usually about your career gains, whether it's a reputation glow up, whether it's more money, there's something nice going on for you in the sky. And with the moon being your ruler, kind of midwiving this whole thing, attending to it on Sunday in particular, then you're going to find that the ultimate outcome of this is super positive. And if I was to go back, I'm just going to go back to 27 degrees and show you, because I think for you guys, it's critical if I can get that back to the exact time. So this is time zone dependent, right? 24th, 25th, because, we have changes of time. There we go. That's good enough, right? All right. Watch that moon, guys. We're looking this for you. This is for you Cancers. Okay. Imagine your Cancer rising. Watch the moon, the Lord of your sign, cross into Taurus on Saturday. And why that matters for you guys is that now your domicile Lord, or your Lord of your your sign, your Cancer sign, is going to participate. It's going to support this. Let's move it back to a Cancer rising visual, okay? So really, really important for you to know that all through Saturday into Sunday, the Lord of your sign will be in attendance supporting this event in the sign of Taurus. And therefore, for whatever reason, it brings you exceptional positive developments regarding career gains in particular, friends, allies, and benefactors, or maybe something very positive happening in the life of a sibling, one older than you. And Mars wants you, by the way, to enjoy more money because he's passionately ginning up self-starter energy for you in your second house and maybe spending more than you normally do, but he's flowing to the money goddess herself, and it all works out in the end. And somehow this surprising development in the 11th house of good spirit, gains from the career, may be also supported by Mars in your second house of earnings, trining Venus in your second house of career, raises, promotions, advancements, deals, negotiations, surprises next weekend. Of course, I've been telling everybody, look to the Sun conjunction to Uranus. It happened the weekend before, especially around the 17th, 18th, in order to see if there were seeds planted last weekend that fruit fully with Mercury this coming weekend ahead. I need a sip of my probiotic kefir soda. This is so good, guys. This is so delicious. All organic stuff. Mango puree. Oh my God. Canadian brand called Kirk's Probiotic Soda, lemon mango, made in British Columbia. And I believe it was from a mama who made it for her son who was having health challenges. All right. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Mercury and Uranus are kind of joining Saturday and Sunday. You'll start to feel it as early as Friday. That's what we're going to focus on. I'm reminding all signs. Cosmic lovers, Mars and Venus are in a dance of opportunity, harmony, flow, and ease with money and love stories, or generally just good things happening. And that happened last week, and it's continuing all through this week. So go watch the All Signs video for that. It's really a positive storyline. The bending of the nodes of fate, Jupiter, especially the north bending. Well, that's a critical turning point, pivot move through maybe a need to make a decision or take radical action regarding 11th house matters. I'm not going to read the whole thing, do the whole thing over. The video's already been out. And so if you want to go watch that video too, I'll try to remember to pin it to the comments and or the description box so you can easily access that All Signs video. Where I'm taking us is what's going to happen Friday through Sunday with Mercury, Uranus co-joined together in your 10th house. Well, that's your career space. That's your reputation space. And there's something surprising up there. You don't see it coming because it is Uranus. It always takes us by surprise. And you may have a clue if you go back to the weekend before what was happening last weekend in your career and reputation space. It could give you a clue because the sun was up here with Uranus. Now, because you got the idea of decapitation here, and this is the 10th house of caputing, it's where we're the head of the government, the head of the department, the head of our division, right? And decapitate, caput, Algol kaput, you might get decapitated from some work. You may even, with Mars squaring the 10th house, quit your job or your job quits you. If that happens, it also could be very positive for you. Do not take this as a stress factor. The moon is going to move at the exact conjunction in her exaltation into that 10th house. All that means is that it's got a blessed exalted lunation shining brightly in the 10th. Well, not too brightly because the moon will be moving into new moon phase, but still you've got an exalted waning moon in your 10th house. It is maybe about time to close out or complete or walk away from something professionally, but there may be a surprise in the way it happens, especially with Juno across the way, indicating a fracture of an agreement. Let me know what happens there. But if it's nothing to do with a career move or a big change in the career, and it could be with Jupiter at the bending of the south node, north node thingy in some money houses from a career gains house, then there may be some surprising news in the workspace itself. Like the boss gets fired, the boss quits, the company's going to merger with another, or nothing to do with you. You didn't cause it, but the company's going to go into foreclosure. I'm not saying that that's good or bad. It just is. So look for some of intensity coming through this coming Friday through till Sunday, Monday in the area of the chart that is about your work. Don't have work, then your reputation is going to have a sudden shock. I don't know what else to say about that. Now, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. This conjunction between Mercury and Uranus, Saturday, Sunday, they're coming together in the heavens, and you're going to find this week ahead bring surprises from the ninth house or unexpected phone calls and text messages. Ninth house matters are visas and passports and foreign lands and academic and university settings and book publishing deals and book publishing in general. That could definitely be the agent or the publisher, and some interesting and positive news because it does trine your first house. You got accepted to your favorite school, late acceptance. You thought you were out of the running. Surprise. You got a foreign land trip opportunity, visa, passport. Surprise. Pay attention to the sky Friday through Sunday into Monday even for these unexpected developments. Mercury's in a dream house. Dreams at night can come off the ninth house, and he's a dream messenger. Flowing to you. So really pay attention to dreams on the weekend, especially Saturday and Sunday, to be highly intuitive and informative and giving you breakthrough insights and understanding of some kind. Because of the cosmic lovers trying each other all week, and they have been last week as well, it's such a nice sky for you in terms of chunky money and time alone, spent alone at home. Maybe sexual and romantic intimacy has been picking up at home. Yeah, I love that for you. And that's going to continue all through this week ahead. And with Mars squaring this sort of shocking surprise in your ninth house, some of you may have some far off, foreign shore, distant land, unexpected developments. I don't know what they are. Human resource departments are ninth house, right? So maybe you're going to get some news with Jupiter in your 10th house, and the human resource department, backroom deals and negotiations, going to offer you a new job, or you get headhunted. And this is a headhunting position. Somebody hears about you and wants to headhunt you into a new job or position. Those things can happen here as well. Well, Libra, it's such a good week. Mars and Venus are still trining each other like they did last week. Fire in the sky, fire trine. Really good for your marriage, your romantic life. Your significant other is also getting a glow up. More social times with friends that brings great joy and fun and pleasure and satisfaction. This is just a good vibe for the entirety of the week. If you don't have a significant other, your market audience outreach and career gains are up on the upswing, and you're getting some publicity or exposure. One thing I would say about the Jupiter bending the nodes of the fate, and there's videos on both the Venus trine Mars and the Jupiter node bending. Please go watch those. This is going to invite a critical turning point, fated decision regarding work, career, rental properties, foreign travel, pilgrimages, publications and books, and many other things. I've covered this already. Please go watch the earlier video. Now, the shocking, surprising development or unexpected development on a well star, but also on a decapitation star is in your 8th house. That's your taxes. That's your shared resources. That's inheritances. There's going to be an exalted moon there. The moon represents our home as a general matter. So when it comes to matters of home, property, land, and real estate, there may be some exciting or unexpected developments, and it may involve rental properties as well. So whatever that is, it's got a vibe of you didn't see it coming. Is it a break free or breakthrough, or is it a breakdown? It's really hard to say. The exalted moon coming into the sky with the Uranus conjunction to Mercury could give it a superior blessing, but the moon is also balsamic, and something wants to close out or finish up in financial matters, may be connected to property, land, and real estate based on the trine to the 4th house. And the Lord of the 4th house being connected to the North Node. So there is that. Very few of you might have an unexpected opportunity for a pet. or an unexpected, surprising, positive opportunity connected to work to do with matters such as sign-on bonuses or severance packages, or buying an ability to buy shares in a company you want to work for, or some financial benefits in it coming in a chunk in a work opportunity or situation. Those are possible as well this week ahead, especially if the work is coming from a foreign country, foreign place, or foreign company than the country in which you reside. Hey, Scorpio. So the week has got the Lord of your sign, Mars, trining Venus all week long. This is a beautiful love and money flow. Nothing about that I don't love. It was here last week. It continues all this week ahead. And I did a video on it, so go watch it. Now, that's going to really increase success in your work. Although you could quit your job or your job can quit you, everything flows and you're going to heal a chironic wound, to do with work matters. You want to go watch the video for that. One thing about Mars at the top of the sky, though, is he's also witnessing this Uranus conjunction in your marriage house. If you're not married, fine, then it's to do with your clients, your audience, your marketplace, legal contracts connected to work, and sudden shocking changes. But if it's your marriage partner, then their life can have some sudden changes that excite you or surprise you, or both of you and that person are surprised. Exalted moon means it should be positive, and it may be changes in the work and life, work and career space of a significant love partner that's coming into your awareness next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. With a nodal bending happening, and the North Node is being bent by Jupiter in the 8th, you could win a lottery ticket, you could get an inheritance, you could get some chunky money, but it may also feel gritty and intense at the same time. So pay attention to what's going on with that all week long. And I've already covered it in a video. So go watch the longer video on Jupiter, and not seen since 1989 at the bending of the North Node. Any last guidance for you? Well, you got Juno going through your sign yet again. And possibly you're thinking about your life in terms of what contracts you wish to honor and which ones you want to break. And that includes work contracts, especially, but also long-term love contracts. Some of you may be looking at those stories and going, oh, should I stay or should I go? And this week ahead continues that storyline. And I don't know, that Uranus thing could be your partner tells you something in an exalted lunation way, like entitled, you ship up or shape out. So you might have a little destabilization in that regards, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week, this week ahead. If you're a Sagittarius, Jupiter is your Lord and he's bending the North Node, last seen in 1989. Please go watch the long form video I put out on that, because it's so important for your sign, because you are ruled by Jupiter. And that is a very rare event. And honestly, it looks like it could really change your status in terms of committed love, or you might break a contract, especially, a legal deal or contract of some sort, maybe one that connects to land, property, and real estate. Or if you're single, you could come into a new relationship off of this, or in a relationship, it could be very difficult. So I want you to definitely go watch that video for you Sag people. Now, that part of the story aside, and who's going to complain about Mars trining Venus from the house of romance to the house of foreign lands? It's good for long distance travel and foreign romance and fun play and pleasure and social things and creative space. It's a great week for all of that. Covered that in the video I've already done. What we're going to focus on is Mercury and Uranus in the 6th house. Now, this is unexpected or surprising or breakthrough. And with the South Node in the 10th house, some of you may end up with a breakthrough of your job. Like, I'm out of here, or my career path, I'm changing, or it's being changed for you. You're going to let go of something and add on something new. And you'll know that might be true Friday through to Sunday, Monday, but you might want to go back to last weekend, like last Friday, Saturday, Sunday before this, 16th, 17th, and 18th, because that might indeed have some precursor storylines, all right, that give you a hint of what's coming. All right, well, we can see Mercury sometimes in the 6th house connected to pets as a kind of like a surprise pet, especially with the North Node and up until the end of the Saturday kind of thing. Saturn in a sextile. I'm wondering if some of you are going to look at an opportunity for a pet that's unexpected. You weren't looking for an animal found you on your doorstep, exalted moon, animal in the home, unexpected opportunity connected to pets. That's what I get there as well. Or job changes. And if you have a rental property as a landlord or a tenant, there may be an unexpected but positive and destined change regarding terms or agreements you have regarding property you rent, whether it's domestic or abroad. With Juno on the 12th, it could be in a foreign land. With Mars in the 9th, it could be in a foreign land. But there's those kind of like ideas of rental property storylines having a twist in the tail, as a break-free breakthrough or unexpected surprise. Now, if you're in a lawsuit, like say you're in a battle and you're gone to court, Mars in the 9th house, lawsuits and disputes, the 6th house. Well, this is a surprise twist in the legal tale. Okay, there's a turning point here. Something unexpected is happening. With Juno across the way, it could be mediation, backroom deals and negotiations, or closing it out, in a, what do you call it? You don't have to go to trial, even you have a settlement before it goes to trial. But you may not have seen it coming, and that's good for those of you dealing with those stories. Now, let's move into the Capricorn piece of the sky. If you're a Capricorn sun, moon, and rising, you're going to see that this is a week that brings a break free or breakthrough energy with Uranus and Mercury in the 5th house that you're going to call positive. Now, I'm going to start with this for you. I'm not even going to talk about the other stuff. Well, maybe I will, because just reminding you, Venus is the goddess of love and money, trining Mars in another money house. So there's some positive money flow happening for you in this week ahead. There was a bit of it last week. It's even better this week. Okay. It's also good for home, property, and real estate matters. Now, and you're getting a bending of the nodes with Jupiter, a story that hasn't happened since 1989 in this way. That could also bring you a break-free breakthrough moment regarding debt, indebtedness, or even work opportunity. But what we're really going to focus on is the Friday through to even Monday, Uranus conjunction to Mercury in the 5th house with an exalted moon. Now, the moon is wise and old. She's balsamic. She's in a house that has to do with creativity, romance, sexuality, fertility, pregnancy, and children. If you are able to be pregnant or your children are able to be pregnant, then those unexpected pregnancy stories can emerge Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of this week ahead. But you could have a break-free breakthrough in an entrepreneurial or creative project. Or you could win the lottery. Yes, because lottery wins in gaming and speculation belong to the 5th house. And Algol, well, it can bring calamity. It's also a wealth star, and it flows to you in an earth trine. So if you were thinking of playing a lottery ticket, this is the time to do it. You start Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday into Monday, but know your limit, play within it. It looks exciting. It looks possible, like you could have an unexpected financial breakthrough. And because Venus is in the 4th house, who rules the breakthrough, it could also impact your home life or be a breakthrough financially for a speculation, or maybe a stock you have bought that's risky takes off. Mars is in the house of stocks that you could be owning, that kind of thing. Now, breaking free and breaking through in the 5th house could be a breakthrough in your sex life, your romantic life, that kind of thing. The exalted moon owns the house of long-term commitment and long-term love. And there may be a breakthrough in a committed love in the sexual and romantic part of the story that you didn't see it coming and you weren't expecting it. There's that. And your children may have unexpected breakthroughs, and they may be getting in touch with you to tell you about that. So look for those phone calls, text messages, and emails, let's say May 24th, 25th, especially, coming through over the transom with exciting news. I wonder if you notice anything percolating around these themes a little bit sooner than that, back last week, 16th, 17th, and 18th of May, when the sun was on Uranus. Now Mercury is finishing up the story, right? That'd be good for your money that the moon is talking to Pluto as well. So let's see what happens. So Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign, the energy here of the week is so positive with the Mars trine Venus as a backdrop story that it could really give you a glow up in romantic energies, or because of Jupiter still in the fifth and Mars in the long term. So long term committed love, romantic storylines, things to do with travel, short distances, teaching and learning, marketplace and audience. All the trine stuff between Venus and Mars is so great. Go watch the video that came out already for your sign. I'll pin it to the comments, etc., and in the description box under the video. And the once not seen since 1989, Jupiter's bending the North Node from a money house into a creative and entrepreneurial zone of the sky, also a fertility and pregnancy zone of the sky. But we'll cover that. We did cover that already, so you can watch the video. The shocking, surprising break-free breakthrough is about property, homeland, and real estate. Property, homeland, and real estate. Or breaking free and through things to do with your childhood. That's where Mercury is joining with Uranus on Algol, an intense star, but it is a well star. And that's another positive thing about it. There's an exalted moon. The moon is a category, rules home, but the moon also rules your house of rentals, also rules matters to do with your health. There's break free, breakthrough in home, health, rentals, pets. Now, this definitely could look like a new pet that you didn't expect. This can also look like a breakthrough, break free, regarding matters of where you live, properties you live in, rental properties, and all of that. There will have a seed that was planted maybe when the sun was here last week, last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, kind of like the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th of May. What was going on then that could have given you a clue about what's going on here. The moon exalted is balsamic, is closing down, it's getting old and wise and mystical and magical, but she still is an exalted moon attending to this conjunction. I am an Aquarius rising. I can't imagine any more surprises regarding homeland, property, and real estate. I've already signed a new lease, but you never know. It could be something very sweet and positive. Jupiter is in the fifth house, and that's just, of course, all over blessing around lucky events and lucky things in your life. And then Mercury will join Jupiter right after this conjunction. So there could be something with home and luck, home and money luck, home and breakthroughs and money luck, etc. We'll see what happens. Some of you may have an unexpected Juno in the top of the sky moment. And that could be some kind of contract in the public eye that you get to sign or agree to. And with Mars moving through your seventh house, and the Mars Uranus squaring that, there can be some unexpected developments to do with breaking of legal agreements connected to property, or major turning point changes in a long-term committed love story as well. They're showing up on the Friday through to Sunday timeframe. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Am I still here? Always least to know, never least, never last, best and always best. Guys, let's start with the basics. All right, so you of all people need to pay attention to Jupiter bending the North Node in your sign. It's going to bring you pivotal decisions, actions, changes, choices to do with property, land, home, real estate, prosperity, people you live with in your domestic environment, and fated destined change. You must watch the longer video for you, because this is not going to happen again for many years. It last happened in 1939. I think it happens 100 years from now. Jupiter bending the North Node while it's in the sign of Pisces. If it's over your sun, it's about your career. Your moon is about your home, and about your rising sign, it's anything in your life. And it can definitely impact career matters as well. That said, the lovey-dovey cosmic lovers are giving you money flow and work flow and health flow and dietary habits flow, and it's a backdrop of the whole week ahead. Now, Uranus and Mercury are trying to break free or break through something in the third house. Now, with an exalted moon, I think it's going to be positive, and it does flow to your Pisces sky, sextiles you. It may have to do with matters to do with a sibling younger than you, maybe a breakthrough with any sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, and nephew that's positive. It may involve wealth in their life. It may have something to do with land that's in the local area around you, your neighborhood. Maybe you want to expand your hood. rent another home, buy a home. I say rent because of Mars in the sixth, and there's an unexpected new opportunity to expand your home, rent a home, etc. Now, if you want to get a job, Mars says yes, and it says, well, it could be online, or you get to passionately get to work. Mars is in its joy in your house of work with an opportunity that surprises you in the local environment. But because our third house is a writing, social media sphere, and Juno's in the house of book publishing contracts, even to the point you might get an unexpected, surprising book publishing deal coming off of this sky Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the end of this week. But look for clues that might have occurred on the 16th, 17th, 18th, the weekend before, because there was the sun also doing what Mercury's doing now. There is a wealth star here. It could be good for your money, but there's also the decapitation star. You want to be careful that you don't have a difficult moment with a neighbor. Okay, a dispute, especially with Mars in the house of disputes. So tread carefully in the neighborly environment, not to have a local clash that shocks you and others, with a Martian situation. If you want to write, if you want to communicate, you want to market, you want to sell, you might get some surprising results off of this conjunction. And with the exalted moon, it looks like it should feel positive. Venus is ruling it from the earnings house. So again, it could be a great financial boost. The gains of what Venus is bringing you financially for the third house is local job in the community and a brick and mortar store, up level of your financial success connected to matters to do with the online social media landscape. And this is a great, surprising quality. You got more than you wanted, especially if you make digital income borderless revenue with Pluto in the 12th. You're having a nice glow up. Something you're selling, promoting, sharing with the world. Ka-ching, ka-ching could show up here for you in the sky for sure, especially as we approach the end of the week into the weekend. Well, I think that's what I've got for you, Pisces. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now, it's the extra. I get to talk about what the hell ever I want to talk about. And I actually was thinking I wanted to talk about something that I haven't talked about lately, if at all. So, well, let me just put it this way. I've been really pondering the asteroid Cassandra. And if you have her in the chart prominent, and you can take my free Amazing Asteroids course, and there's a big PDF of all the major asteroids, including the prophetic asteroids like Cassandra or Prothea, the Oracle of Delphi, who's very powerful in my chart. But Cassandra's curse was that nobody believed her. She could see the future, or she knew what was coming, or she knew it was true, and no one believed her. And I realized this has been bothering me for a long time in my own life. And anyone with a strong Cassandra, I think you can relate. And if anything, if this message has universal appeal today, is that these minor asteroids are the devil is in our sky details, and it really does show us the truth. I have the asteroid Bacchus on my Venus and Dionysius on my Mars, and I have a love of wine. I just went to a wine pairing cooking class last night, and I had the best time with my best friend for 4 hours. And I realized I come by the love of wine from a deep natural place in my sky. Venus and Taurus conjunct Dionysius, Mars in the house of things I put in my mouth, conjunct Bacchus. So, but the Cassandra thing is like, I think I'm coming to terms with the lesson of the asteroid. I want you all to consider the asteroids in your chart. My example is Cassandra, and what you're learning by choosing that code in your natal sky. Because Cassandra is nothing but a frustration, because she will speak something into prophetic ways of being in the ancient story, and it will be the truth, and we will be correct, and nobody will believe her. A curse of no one getting what you're saying. And where I've come to terms with the lesson for me on that one, because I've seen it over and over again. I don't mean predicting Donald Trump's near-death experience. I got that one right. People didn't necessarily believe me, but it turned out to be true. It's more on things that I think are even common sense predictions, like I always said that, of course, Israel is going to annex Gaza. And I always said they're going to take the north for sure. I always said that, Ukraine was a proxy war. I always said that there were unsafe, ineffective protocols during the pandemic. I always said it was a lab leak. I was still being called a conspiracy theorist up till like a year ago or a month ago. And these are obvious to me, but isn't it obvious to everyone else? So what's the lesson if you have a Cassandra placement with your sun, your midheaven? It's in my 10th house, a very prominent Cassandra. I think the lesson for me, and I've been really thinking about that, is not caring that people don't believe me. Sure, I can be found to be right like a year later, 2 years, 3 years, instead of being frustrated in the moment that people are contradicting what is obvious to me at the time. Parsimony, right? Lab leak. I don't know how to be psychic to get that one. That there was a lab leak was the most obvious expression of truth that anybody with a thinking brain would come up with. And there was a cover up around that, right? So that's what I have. And I knew that the Fair and Cleavage site was produced. I was watching non-mainstream media that showed by scientists looking at the Fair and Cleavage site in the C virus that it doesn't occur naturally in nature. The odds were astronomical that it had to have been inserted into the C virus. And that was knowledge in the first 4 months of the pandemic. But if you were somebody who was watching mainstream media cover up, you would not have known that. Okay. And last thing I want to say in my extra, there's a book by Gretchen Rubin, and it's got the 4 temperaments or the 4 types or something in there. And there's there's the questioner and the rebel, and then there's 2 other types. And one I would call the sheeple, and it represents 50% of the population. They don't question authority. They take things at face value. They have an appeasing strategy in life. And then there's another one that may be 20%. Now we're getting to 70% of the population that are like the appeasing chunk of people, but they have a moral inner compass. So if someone says, turn the gas on for the Holocaust and to, kill these families in a gas chamber. Well, the 50%, the sheeple, would be like, do as I'm told. There's got to be a good reason for it. And then there's a name for them. Maybe they're the appeasers. And then there's one that are like the appeasers, but they have this internal moral compass, like an inner sheriff. They check it out inside of them to see internal locus of control. Is this a good idea? Do I feel good? Is this right for me? And they operate from an inner system. Well, they still have a tendency to want to go with the flow and do what everyone else is doing. And then there are the questioners and the rebels. Now, I took a test on her book, the 4 somethings, Gretchen Rubin, and I am a questioner and a rebel. And unfortunately, the questioner rebels, they make up like a small percentage of the population, let's say 30% between the 2 of them. I don't remember the actual statistics. And that's why I get frustrated being a Cassandra, because I'm pushing against the appeasers, mostly the 50%, maybe some of the appeasers with their inner moral sheriff, who just don't question what they're told, who trust authority and follow orders. When it goes to seeing medical doctors for procedures, the 50% do whatever the doctor says without a second opinion or questioning the procedure or thinking about it or doing their own research. You see what I'm saying? And so then I have to come to terms with, I'll never be one of the 50% plus or whatever they're called, the appeasers. And I'm not the person who wants to go along and has to check my moral compass. I'm always questioning and rebelling. That's my extra. I don't know what that's going to be called. Coming to terms with Cassandra and what's your temperament? All right. So if you guys like this kind of weird stuff at the end, I'm going to reflect on various astrological stories as they apply to real life. Sometimes I'll use me as an example. I used to just vent at the end of these videos, and I realized no one knows there's even a venting at the end. So this is my new venting zone at the very end in the extra. Don't forget, like, subscribe, come study with me. Summer school's July, August, 6 weeks long. We'll be done by, I don't know, July 9th or something, August 9th. And that's Sky Reader. Be your own astrologer, time your best life. I always add new content every time I teach it. Former students are invited to come back at a discount. I will be emailing them a discount link to come back and redo it at a fraction of the cost in case they felt confused or didn't catch all the stuff in the first or second time they took the class. I'll see you guys soon. Ciao, ciao. Oh, thank God. I thought I stopped recording.